Just over 20 years ago, the last Aboriginal residential school closed in Canada. Over the decades, more than 150,000 children lived in these schools for up to 6 years at a time, and they were punished when they tried to speak their language or practice their culture.
I got frightened when I was a little girl, when the principal used to beat up the other children.
Strapped, I got beaten up for speaking my own native tongue. I even had my tongue pulled out and pinched,
My strongest memory there is when the little girl died beside me.
And being with other girls and witnessing my brother get punched by the supervisor.
My name is Alice Little Deer. I'm 78 years old. I spent about 8 years in residential school.
My name is Raymond Mason. I'm 62 years old, and I attended residential school for 12 years.
I'm Madeline Dion Stout. I'm 62 years old. I'm from the Kihiwan First Nation in Alberta. I attended Blue Quills Residential School for 36 consecutive months. That would be 3 years.
The residential school system took away my language, my culture, and my identity.
We didn't bother white people. White people bothered me.
Indian culture is a contradiction in terms. They are uncivilized. The aim of education is to destroy the Indian. Nicholas Flood David Report, 1879.
There are 3 reasons why I think residential schools are a blot on the Canadian landscape. 1 is that we became strangers in our home and native land. 2 is that nurturing relationships between parents and children were severed. Residential schools were a frontal attack on parenthood. 3 is that it added to our mental stress in a very real way.
On the road, people see us, and that's when the truth comes out.
What do they yell?
Savages or effing Indians. We get a lot of fingers.
People are struggling today. A lot of them are not where I am. They're just starting to open up and talk about what they went through. This is what happened. This is the truth. This is what they did.
Survivors use alcohol, or Native people use alcohol or substances as a coping mechanism to block your emotions and feelings. People are left with a sense of belonging. You want to find your sense of belonging.
No one ever read to me. No one ever came and cuddled me or, gave me a hug if I was feeling sad or upset or I'd fallen down, and no one was there for me. I had to just basically pick myself up and keep going. I'd like to think I'm getting better at it with my grandchildren.
Finally let out my feelings about what happened to me, and I cried, and then that's when I could feel my spirit come back to me, and then I could be there for my kids.
Canadians need to become allies, settler allies with First Nations, Indigenous people, and learn about the history of the true history of Canada. Yeah.
To allow us to talk and to be heard and to listen. That's such an integral piece of this whole process, is listening and actually believing us.